never should have taken that babysitting job. Even before I rang the doorbell, I felt it. A tension in the air that made the hairs on my arms stand straight. The house sat alone at the end of a quiet street, its windows dark and unwelcoming, shadows pooling around the edges of the porch. I had received a text from the parents earlier that day. "Emily sleeps well, but please keep the monitor close. Strange noises sometimes happen at night." I laughed at it then, assuming it was just one of those harmless parent warnings meant to unsettle a young babysitter. As soon as I stepped inside, the house swallowed me whole. The air was thick, warm, and heavy with the faint scent of bleach mixed with something I couldn't name. The crib in the corner was empty, but I knew she was in there. Her mobile spun lazily above her head, casting flickering shadows across the walls. The baby monitor sat on the nightstand beside me, tiny green light blinking like a heartbeat. I placed my bag down, trying to shake the unease. The first hour passed uneventfully. I made tea, checked the time, and watched her chest rise and fall, comforted by the rhythm. Then the baby monitor crackled. Just a tiny static hiss at first, barely noticeable. I leaned forward, adjusting it, expecting it to be interference. But then I heard it. A whisper, faint, delicate, almost like a child imitating a voice. "Emily, Emily." My stomach dropped. I glanced at the crib. She was still asleep, pale and small, her tiny fists curled against her chest. The whisper came again, this time clearer, not from the crib, not from the room. Somewhere inside the walls, soft and deliberate. "Emily, wake up." I froze. My hands shook as I grabbed the monitor and pressed the volume higher. The static hissed, then became words. "Don't leave, don't leave." I spun around, heart hammering. The house was silent except for Emily's even breathing. I called out, "Hello?" Nothing. I crept toward the crib, crouching beside her tiny body. She didn't stir. The whispering continued, coming now from below the crib. I felt it vibrate through the floorboards. I forced myself to crouch and look under the crib. Nothing. Just darkness. Dust motes drifting in the air, and the faint smell of damp wood. I exhaled shakily, convincing myself it was a prank, or perhaps the neighbors messing with the baby monitor. But then I heard it move. A soft scraping noise, a shift of something low, crawling. I jumped back. Emily stirred slightly but didn't wake. My mind raced. "It's just the house settling," I muttered. "Just the house." But the sound grew louder. Something was under the crib, something alive, moving in the dark, stretching its body along the floorboards, sliding, scraping, toward me. The whisper came again, this time directly from under the crib. "I can see you." My chest tightened. I stumbled backward against the wall, knocking over the chair. The mobile above the crib spun faster, casting fractured shadows that danced like crawling fingers across the walls. The monitor crackled violently, the little green light flickering like a pulse. And then, silence. I forced myself to breathe, to reason. I told myself the house was old, the floorboards loose, the monitor picking up interference. But deep down, I knew better. Something was here, watching, waiting, and it had Emily's name. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. Time felt broken, stretching in unnatural ways. Every creak of the floor, every whisper of air through the vents made me flinch. I dared not check under the crib again. I didn't move her, didn't touch the monitor. I sat frozen, staring at her tiny sleeping face, praying she stayed asleep. Then I heard the softest sound, a tiny giggle. Emily didn't giggle. She was asleep. My heart froze. The giggle came again, closer this time from under the crib, and then, unmistakably, the whisper returned, harsh and cold. "Emily is mine. You can't take her." I bolted upright, fumbling for the light switch. The room plunged into a shadowed chaos as the single bulb flickered. In that half-light, I glimpsed it. A figure low to the ground, stretched impossibly, limbs bending wrong, crawling toward me under the crib. Its face was pale, featureless, but vaguely human. The faint outline of eyes that gleamed with hunger. I screamed, scooping Emily into my arms, running for the door. The hallway beyond was dark, the shadows thick and moving like wet smoke. I could hear it behind me, soft scraping, dragging, whispering my name and hers. I ran down the stairs, through the kitchen, every step amplified by the low crawling sound behind me. When I finally reached the front door, I slammed it open and ran into the night air. The streetlights were distant, flickering. The wind carried a faint echo, almost like laughter, almost like a whisper. You can't leave. I never returned to that house. Emily's parents never mentioned anything strange. I tried to tell them, but who would believe me? Who could? Even now, months later, I can hear it sometimes. When the wind howls through my apartment vents, I swear I hear soft scraping at the floor, and a whisper, always just beneath the edge of hearing, Emily, Emily, wake up.